Today is the last day revenue will slip through the cracks between marketing and sales. It's the last time you'll leave money on the table because you can't trust your CRM. Starting now, designing campaigns, creating opportunities, and progressing them to close is completely reimagined. We've engineered the process from start to finish and lifted the burden. Get back to actually listening to customers and back to selling.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Oracle Live. Today you will be hearing about the latest innovations from our Oracle advertising and customer experience portfolio. I'm extremely excited to have our founder, chairman, and CTO, Larry Ellison, join me today to continue our discussion on the future of CRM. Welcome, Larry.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
Great to see you. You know, Larry, we've been talking a lot about sales and marketing innovations over the past year, and you've been guiding us on a lot of our work. Maybe we can start by just getting your perspective on where you see the state of CRM today and why it has failed to live up to its promise.
Well, I think the most obvious thing is sales automation, pioneered by Siebel. The number one player in the market right now is Salesforce.com, and their number one product is sales automation, but it doesn't automate selling. It's that simple. The sales automation system has value. It keeps track of your opportunities, keeps track of your contacts, and it allows you to communicate with management and say, I expect these deals to close in the quarter. It's really a management tool for individual salespeople and their bosses to make estimates as how many deals will close in the quarter and figure out what revenue is going to look like in the quarter. Now that has value, but the sales, the sales system does not increase sales. It doesn't automate sales. It automates sales forecasting and improves communication. But what we want to do is actually build systems that help you sell more. It's that simple. And there's really a combination. And we realized we couldn't do just a second generation sales automation system to help you sell more. We had to also include the precursor to selling, which is marketing to generate and, most importantly, qualify leads. Creating leads is easy. You can get lots and lots and lots of leads. The question is being able to figure out which of those leads are high quality. Right. Which of those leads do you want to turn over to salespeople and then get them engaged? So we felt we had a two-step process. We had to automate lead generation and qualification, a new second generation marketing system. And then as soon as we got that done is to build a second generation sales automation system that would make the salespeople more productive, help them sell more.
That's great. You know, Larry, in this process of building and working with you on this, we've talked a lot about true end-to-end automation, what that really means. So I'd love to get your sense of, how you think our approach from an end-to-end automation perspective is so different from competitors who rely solely on integrations rather than really automating the process.
Well, we wanted to build a single unified system that would cover all aspects of marketing. And, Rob, you and I have had numerous conversations. I said, okay, let's say our first campaign, our model campaign at Oracle was, it was existing customers. They sell to existing customers. By the way, we also sell to new customers. It's called the AT&T deal. What about new customers? What about existing customers? We sell to both. Right. But the first campaign was existing customers that were using our on-premise e-business suite applications. And we wanted to persuade them to upgrade from your on-premise e-business suite system to our cloud Fusion system. So that was the first thing that we did. So clearly we had identified all, they're existing customers. So it's easier to figure out the first thing you do is create a list of people you want to sell to. So those are the people we wanted to sell to. Then the next thing you want to do is run direct mail campaigns, and advertising campaigns to get them to engage. And then when they do engage, you want to measure their engagement. So we build these microsites. We do direct mail and advertising to these people. And then we would get them to go to our microsite and engage and get the best references and see what other customer, what other people's experience was with as they upgraded from eBusiness Suite to Fusion. So we wanted to have advertising and direct mail in the same system. That doesn't exist. That does not. Those are usually separate systems, and the ad system often has nothing to do with. It's almost a separate thing,
right?
Off to the side, a separate team of people that work on advertising. We look at advertising as one of the tools where you try to engage people. So, for example, eBusiness Suite, we wanted to advertise to. It was a medium-sized company. We wanted to advertise to everyone on the board of directors. The CFO, the CTO, everyone, if they had a CTO, a CHRO, if they had a CHRO, we wanted to identify all the decision makers, all the influencers, and have those ads that chase you around when you go to the Nike website and you look at your Air Jordans. A lot of people don't know that Rob wears Air Jordans to work every day. He's really a devoted customer to those $700 shoes. I'm just joking, but if you go visit a Nike site and then you go to the New York Times or you go to the Wall Street Journal, those Nike ads follow you around. Well, if Nike can do it, why can't we? Why can't we when we're trying to communicate about our great new Fusion ERP system? Why shouldn't we have the same kind of advertising capability someone like Nike has? We should. It should be a part of the integrated system. So we can direct mail them. We can advertise directly to them. We can show them our best references and encourage them to come to our microsite, which we built just for them. That has all of our best references. The companies who had the best experience that are most like them upgrading from eBusiness Suite to Fusion. We wanted to have a single system, a single step-by-step, end-to-end, completely automated process from the creation of the list of who you're selling to scoring the leads using our AI technology, and then distributing those leads and opening opportunities automatically in the Oracle Sales Automation System, in the Salesforce.com automation system. But just do and by the way, all that lead generation and qualification is done entirely through automation. It's just computers. In fact, we draw this very interesting line that the lead generation and qualification is a completely automated computer process, artificially intelligent computer process. When we make the handoff, when we actually open up the opportunity in the sales automation system, that's when human beings are engaged.
Right.
And we begin to do reference calls, set up a call between a prospect and someone who's using Fusion, set up a demo where you go to a customer who's actually using the system. Rather than us doing the demo, you can go to a customer and see it at a customer site. Then we can take your data or some of your data and put your data up and then demo that for you. So there's a whole series of steps trying to close that deal. And that's it. Lead generation qualification, what we're announcing today, completely automated, includes integrated advertising. There's all the integrated advertising, one system end to end. Same thing with selling, one system end to end, from opening an opportunity to actually configuring and quoting the deals and shipping a proposal to the client. And that's a sales automation system, as you well know.
Yeah.
You're building it.
Yeah, well, it's great. And everything you talked about in the creating leads and qualifying leads has been such a fragmented manual process for so many years. And, as a set of, as you well know, it's just a set of really hard computing problems that we had to take on and really set out. I'm just curious to know your view on why you think we at Oracle are so well positioned to solve this problem versus other of our competitors? I mean, why do you think it was that it took so long for companies to come to this, and why do you think we're most uniquely positioned to solve it?
Well, I think Oracle really is a very unusual cloud company. We are a first-tier player in applications, where our primary application competitors, historically it's been SAP, but they're not in the cloud. So SAP in ERP, and then Salesforce.com, who we think is a high-quality company, in CRM or CX, whatever you'd like to call it. So we compete with the very first tier companies in applications. But we also compete in infrastructure. Underlying our applications is not somebody else's infrastructure. I mean, most every SAP application runs on the Oracle database. But sales automation at Salesforce.com runs on the Oracle database. So in their cloud. So we run on our own infrastructure. So we're equipped to tackle this advertising job, which is technically very complex, and build the underlying technology that allows us to build applications that take advantage of the latest technology. Gartner just ranked the top 3 American infrastructure players, and number 1 was Amazon, and number 2 was Microsoft, and number 3 was Oracle in infrastructure. That's pretty interesting. So we're a first-tier player in infrastructure, first-tier player in applications. It allows us to tackle these second-generation applications, which complete end-to-end automation in a single unified system with security, with reliability, with scalability, all because we're an infrastructure player as well as an application player.
That's great. And just one last question for you. Beyond this launch of Fusion Marketing, what are you excited about? And I'll just say, in the front office, just given the audience, what are you excited about in the front office that we're doing beyond this?
Well, I'm glad you limited it to the front office, because we're doing we're doing a lot of different things. In fact, I don't talk about all the things we're doing in healthcare, but in healthcare and banking and in a variety of other areas. But in the front office, this really is, as we discussed, whether to make this a single announcement or 2 announcements, whether to announce the Gen 2 marketing first, and then wait a couple of months until we announce the Gen 2 sales. So obviously, this is the first step, the first shoe to drop, which is the Gen 2 marketing. Which we think is quite remarkable. Just looking at, part of the Gen 2 marketing includes this database that keeps track of all of your products and your product descriptions, and then all of your references, all of your best references for your products. Actually, all of your reference, whether they're your best, from your best to your worst. Keeps track of a single database, keeps track of all the analyst reports, all the articles, all of that stuff is in one place. So, and that's one of the underlying technologies that enables this marketing system. Because the way we get engagement in marketing is to show a customer another company that looks very much like them, and how that customer successfully migrated from eBusiness Suite to Fusion. And if it worked for Alice, it should work for you, right? I mean, a lot of our business is reference selling. By the way, whether it's same thing as new, it also automatically builds lists. It looks at our existing installed base. I said new customers and existing customers. For new customers, they will look at our installed base of successful Fusion users and build a list of companies that look like our most successful users, and then start marketing to those new customers with the references, doing advertising and direct mail and microsites and so on. So that was step 1. And we're very excited about that. And that's out and available, and we're using it. And you and Ariel are going to talk about, in some detail, how we're using it at Oracle successfully and how some of our customers are using it. But the other shoe is the sales automation. And I know my good friend Mark Benioff, talks about Slack, Slack first, and I mean it's really interesting because our view is, by the way, we use Slack. We use Slack. We think Slack is really good at some things, but in terms of sales engagement, where we open the opportunity for the salesperson, it's kind of Zoom first. So just like here we are, we're not. I mean, I guess we could have done this announcement on Slack, but for some reason we chose not to. It's a great tool, but it's not the perfect tool for everything. For person-to-person engagement, Zoom. For sales, potential customer engagement, for a reference call, for a demo, Zoom is much better than Slack. Again, we love Slack. We use Slack, but in selling, we're going to use a lot of Zoom. We've got a very close relationship with Zoom. A lot of Zoom runs in our cloud. We got a great relationship with them. And it's getting stronger and broader and deeper all at the same time. So you'll see our sales automation, a lot of the events, the reference events, the demos, a lot of those things are scheduled and executed in Zoom conferences. And you'll see the ability for salespeople and prospects to go ahead and with a scheduler and schedule these reference calls, schedule these demos, schedule a contract negotiation, whatever it is, via Zoom. And all of that stuff will be, if you will, choreographed by the system. Also a step-by-step sales process, beginning with the opening of the opportunity, and then finally with a proposal and a configuration and a price quote, the customer. So obviously, this is one shoe. What am I most excited about in the front office is the other shoe.
Yeah.
Gen 2 selling.
Gen 2 selling. That's awesome. Larry, I appreciate so much you being here to share your vision and your inspiration that is guiding all our teams. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Rob, and shout out to Ariel and the rest of the team. Great job, guys. See you at work tomorrow.
Thank you. See you at work.
Via Zoom.
Yeah, via Zoom. See you at work via Zoom. Thank you, Larry.
Bye, guys.
As you heard, there are so many challenges with today's CRM implementations that are preventing marketers and sellers from working together to get more sales. And as you heard, marketers are struggling because audiences are almost entirely digital and online. In fact, recent research shows that buyers only spend less than 20% of the buying process with a salesperson, which means the role of the marketer is absolutely critical to educating the buyer. This digital shift also means that buyers are doing far more research on their own across even more digital channels, and marketers need tools to effectively meet buyers where they are. Sellers struggle with the amount of unqualified leads they receive from marketing. Oftentimes, we have junior people making decisions about the ranking of leads based on incomplete information and gut instinct, often leading to skepticism and a lack of trust by salespeople. And as you heard from Larry, all the wasted time that sellers spend on administrative tasks just to keep their managers happy. Many sellers are frustrated that they spend far too much time in CRM, updating lists, entering activities, resolving data conflicts. CRM has, in a sense, become a tool for sales managers, not for sellers. So we started by asking the question, how can we improve today's technology so that the original vision of marketing and sales can be realized? Because right now, far too much of the process is manual, with too much friction, way too many screens, and an over-reliance on often uninformed judgments. Almost every B2B business out there has accumulated dozens of legacy systems, from customer and account intelligence in their CRM or ERP to many other bespoke applications and processes across advertising, content management, email design, and campaign analytics. The good news is that B2B businesses have seen the potential value of most, if not all, of the key elements of the flow. What we need is a better way to reduce the amount of time, overhead, and misalignment between sales and marketing processes and content. What is missing is a system that does the heavy lifting to engineer and unify campaigns across advertising, product and reference content, and opportunity creation and qualification. Well, it doesn't have to be this way. And we believe it is time for some real innovation in B2B marketing and sales. So what if CRM systems focused on marketers and sellers working together to sell more? What if artificial intelligence could be used to automatically qualify leads and create opportunities when they're truly ready? What if marketers could easily create campaigns across marketing and advertising channels for a consistent message? This is not an easy problem to solve, and it is not going to be solved by asking our customers to integrate dozens of systems on their own. Creating true automation is a difficult engineering problem, but that's exactly what we live for at Oracle. Today, we are announcing Oracle Fusion Marketing, a workflow-oriented set of services that sit on top of legacy systems like CRM, marketing automation, opportunity and forecast management, and contact databases. Oracle Fusion Marketing is built to help sellers sell and to automate the mundane tasks that sellers and marketers despise, allowing them to get back to what they do best, building customer relationships and closing deals. We've infused automation and intelligence into each of these previously manual steps. Marketers no longer need to guess at audience segmentation or rely on a data scientist to experiment with the data. We have embedded powerful AI that will recommend an ideal segmentation based on your goals. Now, every marketer will tell you that it is actually quite difficult to put together a coordinated marketing and advertising campaign. Targeted ads on LinkedIn plus targeted emails to your known contacts equals a big headache. Well, we've simplified that process. Our predictive tools can suggest the best product and the best reference content for the campaign at the time you design it. Lead qualification no longer needs to rest on the shoulders of folks without experience, but can now be done according to agreed upon criteria, not just a hunch or a gut instinct. And we've brought AIs to opportunities. The computer now can look at signals and patterns to determine when a lead is truly ready to be picked up by sellers. Marketers can be more impactful and efficient in their contribution to revenue growth, and sellers can be confident in the leads provided by their marketing colleagues. Oracle Fusion Marketing consists of 4 new innovations: Fusion Marketing for the overall workflow and campaign orchestration, Fusion Advertising for paid media activation, Fusion Products and References for personalized and sales-ready reference content, and Unity for audience segmentation and enrichment, all engineered to work together out of the box and eliminating the need for manual customized workflows. With Fusion Marketing, companies can build better audiences, execute ad and email campaigns, and score and qualify opportunities. And sellers can focus more on engaging customers and spend less time with low-value activities and leads, since Fusion Marketing automatically executes account-based marketing and sales campaigns. Marketers can now focus on strategy and less time on systems for managing campaigns and finding the right content. So when customers buy Oracle Fusion Marketing, they're actually buying a set of brand new, thoughtfully curated, cross-organizational services, all that simplify and automate the B2B campaign to qualified opportunity process. Fusion Marketing helps marketers and sellers not only do their jobs better, but work better together as a CX team. Fusion Marketing, advertising, products and references, and Unity work together to do the heavy lifting to get your marketing journey on the best footing, intelligently define target audiences, deliver personalized content across owned and paid channels, and then intelligently score and convert only the most qualified leads directly to opportunities. Fusion Marketing Advertising Products and References in Unity leverage a common data layer to coordinate customer profiles and transactional data. Fusion Marketing self-learns through machine learning to continually optimize how audiences are collated, analyzed, and how campaigns are disseminated across owned and paid channels. And most importantly, how opportunities are followed up on from a selling perspective. And all of this innovation, as you heard from Larry, sits on top of our best-in-class Gen 2 cloud infrastructure, a common, secure, and industry-leading Gen 2 service that powers these applications and makes the administration in the cloud seamless. Welcome to the future of marketing. You can now improve productivity with a simplified end-to-end workflow across advertising, marketing, content, and sales. Your marketing teams can expand campaign reach by going beyond your contact list using robust audience building capabilities. Your campaign planners can design and orchestrate consistent campaigns across advertising and email channels in just minutes. Your company can deliver relevant experiences using AI-driven content recommendations at each point in the selling process. And your sales teams can improve the quality of sales opportunities with account-based scoring and prioritization. When marketing and sales are engineered to work together, the full promise of customer relationship management is realized. Oracle Fusion Marketing empowers marketing and sales teams to do what they do best, deliver exceptional customer experiences. Improving B2B selling? Well, it begins with marketing. Fusion Marketing is designed to help you sell more by bridging that gap between marketing and sales. Aon is a leading global professional services firm providing a broad range of risk, retirement, and health solutions. They recently moved from Salesforce and now use Oracle as the source of truth for all account information. Tiffany Zadeh, the CIO of Growth Enablement at Aon, recently shared their approach to help their sellers sell more.
So Aon is a professional services company, but we specialize in commercial risk products, health, retirement, and reinsurance products. At Aon, we are trying to transform our sales organization by unifying them onto one instance of Oracle CX. So what we did is we took our 11,000 client-facing individuals off of 6 instances of Salesforce, and we moved them onto one instance of Oracle CX. In order to do that, we had to first standardize our sales process across all of our regions and all of our solution lines, which is not easy to do, but it is absolutely a requirement to bring all of our Salesforce into one instance so that we can act as one Aon and better serve our clients. And now what we're looking to do is to automate every portion of the sales process to the point that we can take away the mundane. And I heard a phrase the other day, automate the mundane. We are really trying to help our salespeople by doing some of that work for them in every way that we possibly can. So as an example, they have to keep contact information updated, and contacts move around a lot, and it's hard to keep your CRM tool updated with contact information. Take that off of a salesperson's plate, because at the end of the day, we want salespeople selling. So we want them out of all these systems that we make them go into, and we want them selling. So again, we're constantly trying to figure out, how do I automate their day, and how do I bring their CRM functionality to them wherever they are? And so again, in that roadmap, we're also looking at digital assistant. How can they interact with the CRM tool through voice? How can they make updates like with the punch of a couple buttons and a few sentences instead of having to find a computer and log on and do all those things? That's exactly what we're trying to get to, is where we can take enough of the non-value added work, if you will, off of their plate and automate as much of that as we can so that they can focus on the value added work. Now, along with that though, we are also trying to digitize some of the work that is value added but that they have to do, such as client discovery. They research, they go out and they look what's going on with my client. We have built an add-on to our Oracle CX tool that brings client discovery to them. So again, they're on their account, they look up their account record, and on the top it shows them, here's everything your account has done in the news this week. So it's always trying to think, how can I make their lives better and faster so that they can be in front of clients more and with really relevant information. So if there's one phrase I like to use all the time, this is what we're trying to do: the right information to the right people at the right time. Because if you want your salespeople to interact, you have to make it fast and easy and relevant. And most of the data that we capture, by and large, is not relevant to a salesperson. So what can CRM tools do? They can focus on what a salesperson needs to sell far more than what sales management needs to manage. It is such a great question as to why sales and marketing sometimes have a challenge aligning. When they're not aligned to sales, it doesn't really matter how great your event or campaign is. If it generates 1,000 leads and none of them are picked up, salespeople are busy. They've got, on the big corporate accounts, they can have 50 or 60 accounts. On the smaller accounts, they can have 100. So they don't have time to sift through the 50 leads that came into them. They don't have time. So you have to hand them really, really, really good leads, and 5 of them. So now, I do believe we're at a crossroads, however, in everyone's journey when it comes to sales and marketing collaboration. And that is because we now have data and information that we've never had before, or we might have had it, but we couldn't tap into it as much as we can now. And we now have technology that can allow us to tap into the data, such as artificial intelligence, that can take some really interesting client and account information and can transform it into a really hot lead, which is what sales is after. So I do believe we're at a point where we've got enough good data and we've got enough great technology that we can combine these two and really hand sales those hot leads on a silver platter, which is honestly what we should all be trying to do.
It was great to hear how Aon is digitally empowering its sales force. And to show how Fusion Marketing can transform a company, I'm joined by our CMO and my friend Ariel Kelman. Thanks for joining me, Ariel.
Hey, Rob. Thanks to be here. I'm really happy to be here.
First, can you share a little bit about how the CMO's overall role is changing in B2B organizations?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, CMOs are accountable for driving business growth. And in today's companies, and especially in the B2B world, a lot of this comes in terms of generating demand for sales. In many cases, leads, qualified leads that turn into real opportunities. But one of the things we've seen just accelerate over the past 18 months is this move to digital selling, where we're seeing more and more, 60, 70, even 85% of the buying cycle happening before the customer talks to the rep. More of the research, more of the evaluation, technology products, more of the demos happening online. And all of these digital engagements are now increasing the responsibility of marketing, which often drives these channels, to make sure that they are educating the customer in a really powerful way to make sure that the customer is ready to talk to the salespeople. And this B2B buying process, it really begins with marketing, and it's complicated, unfortunately, and that's why CMOs need a solution like Fusion Marketing.
Oracle decided, a lot driven by your leadership, to be an early adopter for Fusion Marketing. What were your challenges and what were you looking to achieve through the use of Fusion Marketing?
Look, Oracle is a large and complex organization. We have salespeople all around the world. We have a large number of products. We have a substantial advertising budget, a global marketing team trying to serve all these reps, and customers in a number of industries. So the challenges that we have in executing marketing campaigns are similar to a lot of companies, where we need to figure out how to launch these campaigns in an efficient way. And there's challenges, because if we want to do a campaign that spans traditional channels like email marketing and website and advertising, and then shows people all the best product messages and all the best references, and to score those leads, we're often seeing ourselves having to integrate together 5, 6, 7 different technologies, and just as complicated, 5, 6, or 7 different departments of people. And so a lot of that manual work really could benefit from having something automate all of it.
So tell us a little bit about the implementation at Oracle.
Sure. So as Larry mentioned before, we picked our Fusion ERP product as the first test case for a pilot. So the use case is target of customers who are using our on-premises financials products. And we want to help them move to the cloud and use our Fusion ERP product. And so we took several territories in North America where we're going to try this new Fusion marketing process. And then we had several territories in North America as a control group to compare for before and after. And what we wanted to do with these accounts is to send an email to the known people that we have, to back that up with online advertising to go after people at the same companies that we didn't have the contact information before, drive them to a personalized microsite with an explanation of everything they need to know about upgrading to Fusion ERP, and most importantly, references that are relevant to them, because that's what customers want to know. They want to know who that's similar to me with the same problems has bought this product before and has succeeded with it. So they get that personalized information, and then as they look at it and they start to refer to their friends and they view it more, our AI engine is going and looking at all this activity, and when the activity gets to a threshold where it makes sense for a human rep to talk to the customer, our system will automatically generate an opportunity and send it over to the salesperson. And this was really hard before. As I said before, lots and lots of different teams had to work together. We could do it before, but now we can do something in a few days that would take many, many months before.
That's great to hear. I'd love for you to talk about some of the early results that you've seen.
Yeah, so you can imagine we looked at the numbers and went pretty deep on that. And so as compared to the control group, we were able to see a 10% uplift in the quantity of opportunities created, and then for each opportunity, a 33% uplift in the dollars of pipeline per opportunity, which for an account-based perspective, very substantial. And most importantly, the salespeople were very happy that we were able to take an extremely outcome-oriented approach. Because at the end of the day, look, we're producing an output sales pipeline that is a critical input to their processes. And we've also seen that we could do this faster. So, we had sellers telling us they were able to uncover new opportunities, and then when they talked to these customers, they were happy to know that the customer had been way more educated about both the products and the relevant customer references before the reps had even talked to them, which is super valuable for them.
That's great. I would love to see this.
Well, we actually have a demo, Rob.
Okay.
So we put together a demo that shows literally like the system and the campaign that we deployed, because we wanted to use our own products as we iterated with your team to put it together. So Alistair Galbraith will show us how our product was used by my team. And we're going to hand it over to Alistair. He's going to jump right into showing us how marketers create campaigns with Fusion Marketing.
Great.
Let's take a look at how we created this particular campaign across both paid and owned channels here at Oracle. I'm going to start out by logging in to Fusion Marketing. Once I'm logged in, I can see some of the campaigns that are already running. Creating a new campaign is as simple as clicking a button. This wizard will guide me through the campaign creation process. First question is the product we're trying to sell. Now, this campaign is about promoting Fusion Cloud ERP to customers that own eBusiness Suite. So I can choose a product from the list, which is of course synchronized between Fusion Marketing and Fusion Products and References. Next up is choosing the audience that we're trying to target. And this audience is synchronized with Unity, which allows us to select an audience that owns eBusiness Suite, is in the North American mid-market, is active on maintenance, but does not have any other open opportunity for Fusion Cloud ERP. So when I select my audience and add it to the campaign, the next step is choosing customer stories that we're going to use. Now, this is a reference-based campaign. What we're doing is showing prospect customers the successes that other customers like them have had. So what Fusion Products and References is doing is selecting recommended stories for Fusion Cloud ERP, but breaking it out by industry. So these are some of the industries that are in that audience, together with the stories that Fusion Products and References is recommending. And I can also specify some defaults. For example, here I've got a Gartner Magic Quadrant for Cloud ERP, which is going to be relevant to everyone. Next up is the email. Now, our creative team has put together some emails which are stored in Oracle content and synchronized across the entire enterprise. Here I'm going to use this beautiful template for ERP. And you can immediately see a preview that's put together for Amir Khan, which is showing a specific call to action, imagery, and reference story. I can pick another random contact and see how the email's content changes. And of course, I can preview this with different sizes of viewport. Now, when a customer clicks on this, they're going to go to a landing page, and we can configure that landing page here. The selection process is much the same. I can choose something that's stored in Oracle content and created by our creative team. In this case, this is the landing page we've put together for this particular campaign. And again, I can see a preview of the stories that are going to be shown to Hamer and this particular account. Now, this has been so far about setting up a campaign that's targeting existing customers using email. This is natively integrated with Fusion Advertising, so I can extend my campaign to an advertising channel as well. And the way that we tailor that is much the same. So I'm going to choose a default ad that will be shown to every industry. But let's say that for this use case, I want to tailor this for manufacturing. So I'm going to choose a custom campaign image for the manufacturing vertical. You can see that Oracle content is automatically tailoring these particular images for the various banner ad sizes that we're using. If I choose a budget of $25,000 and a start and end date for my campaign, I'm basically done. Next up, I can look at a preview of what's going to go live. This is the name of the campaign, start and end date, the product we're promoting, the audience, the email, and so forth. So when I click publish, this will go live. Those emails are sent, the advertising campaign launches, and we start capturing data. Let's take a look at what happens maybe about a week later with some fictional results. Here I'm seeing the audiences that we targeted, the details of the emails that were sent and the bounce rate, the way that our customers are engaging with it in both clicks and opens, but I can also see integrated into this dashboard the way that the advertising campaign is working for potentially gathering new contacts. And here I can see the pipeline that's been created so far for this particular campaign. If I scroll down through this beautiful chart, I can even see some of the opportunities that have been created, the typical size of that opportunity, the level of engagement from the account, and even the stories that they've viewed. Why don't we take a look at Supremo Tech, which is a fictional example, to see how that particular account engaged and what happens next. If I drill in, you remember we created a campaign and we then activated it and made it go live. Connor Adams, who's the CIO of Supremo Tech, is a known contact and receives a personalized email. On the right-hand side, let's look at some of the signals that Fusion Marketing is tracking. We see that Connor opens his email. He then clicks through to the landing page where he finds the stories engaging, they're relevant to him, so he has a read of them. So he reads this FedEx story for 1 minute and then this Western Digital one for 2 minutes. But let's look at an advertising contact, someone that wasn't yet in the CRM database. Now, John Dunbar also works for Supremo and was picked up because of a lookalike campaign. He sees the ad that we created, clicks through to the landing page, which even though he's an anonymous contact, is tailored because we know the account that he works for. He interacts with the Dropbox story for 2 minutes. Now, between the engagement of these two contacts at Supremo, we can now create a conversation-ready opportunity with account-level interest. Let's take a look at what that opportunity would look like in Oracle Sales. Once it's been assigned to Jane Ramos. Here we are in Oracle Sales, and this is the opportunity that was created. On this side here, you can see a summary of why it's there, together with a recommended next action. If I drill into the activities, you can see the details of why Fusion Marketing created this opportunity for Jane to work. But of course, this isn't limited to just Oracle Sales. Fusion Marketing works almost as well with Salesforce. So here are the opportunities created in Salesforce. And here's the opportunity detail if Jane were working for a company that was using Salesforce. Much the same, we can look at this in Microsoft Dynamics. Here's the list of opportunities that were created, and we can drill into this specific opportunity with detail with Dynamics. So what you saw in just a few minutes was the way that we created a campaign using Fusion Marketing to target existing customers with a new product. We used references to tailor the story so that they had something compelling based on their product, industry, and account. We saw how one specific contact interacted with this campaign, the way that an opportunity was created, and how that opportunity can work just as well in Oracle Sales, Salesforce, or Microsoft Dynamics. And with that, back to you guys.
Thanks, Ariel and Alistair. It's compelling to see how Fusion Marketing is working for Oracle. Now, you've just seen 4 important points for Fusion Marketing. First, no one has automated the full end-to-end workflow. We've engineered the process so that our customers don't have to. Other solutions rely on integrating products together, but integration has its limits because it really just focuses on passing data from one application to the next, maybe once a day, maybe once per hour, maybe once per minute. Fusion Marketing automates the entire workflow, focusing on the process, guiding the marketer through all the steps necessary to achieve a result. Unless you have all the pieces, you cannot engineer them to work together. Number 2, integrated advertising. From audience targeting to opportunity creation, because it is now part of the engineered process, we can reach known and unknown contacts at the targeted accounts to influence lead and account scores through one easy-to-use workflow and measurement dashboard. Other solutions require multiple tools and integrations to do this. This is incredibly powerful because it saves enormous time while enabling better visibility into what's working and what needs to be optimized, improving lead quality and overall campaign ROI. Number 3, Fusion Marketing ensures reference content is personalized based on the product and industry and is consistent across ads, emails, and microsites. Other solutions may use content management systems to store their assets, but they still rely on manual processes to ensure consistency across all channels. Number 4, our opportunity scoring models work at the account level, taking into consideration the engagement of many people within the same company. This provides greater accuracy when qualifying opportunities. Other solutions only look at an individual contact in an account and score the quality of the opportunity based on that single contact rather than the total activity within the account. One of our partners who is particularly excited about the future of CRM is Accenture. They work with many of the largest companies around the world, implementing their marketing and CRM systems and processes. I am so happy to have them as an innovation partner. And I'm thrilled Samia Taraf, Oracle Business Group Lead for Accenture North America, is here with me today. Hi, Samia. Accenture is one of Oracle's closest partners with a comprehensive set of offerings across our entire suite. And you speak to clients every day. What are you hearing from them most?
Thank you, Rob. I'm so happy to be here. And let me just say, I've been part of this partnership for almost 25 years. And what keeps me so excited about what Oracle is doing is that you're focusing on engineering products that are driving innovation and automation, and you're connecting our clients' businesses. So you're problem solvers, which is great. And that allows people like me and my team to really partner and focus with our clients on how do they propel their businesses forward and how can they remain industry and market leaders. So to answer your questions directly, what we hear the most is, how do I modernize and transform? That's the big one. How do I leverage my data and my existing investments to get there? And with data, I mean that both for insight, but also the storage and the security and the management of that data. And then how do I bring my talent, my people with me on that journey? So they want it all. And with certainty, we can say we can do it together, and we're here for it.
That's great. We really appreciate your partnership, and we know you work with our best clients, transforming, not just incrementally developing, but transforming their marketing and sales functions. I would love if you could share your perspective on your clients' typical priorities during this kind of a transformation and how you see that intersecting with our approach to automating this end-to-end flow on the technology side.
Of course. So it's all about value, always, and I mean that tangibly. How can we deliver value to our clients? So it puts you and I in a position, we have a two-part problem. You have a computer science problem to solve, and then we have a business transformation challenge to address. So today we see fragmentation in how our sales and marketing teams are working together. Our clients are often performing these tasks in silos with different business drivers, different users, driving to different outcomes. So with Fusion Marketing, we can bring it together. You're solving the engineering problem by integrating these functions on one cloud-native platform. It's intuitive. I love the cloud-native part. And that enables us to work with our clients to make sure that their marketing and sales processes are seamless and that they're getting the insight out of that single source of truth with their data. Because if they're not automating and innovating, they're not going to stay market relevant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you see as, you work with clients all the time. What do you see as the key ways that we are going to unlock value together with this innovation?
So many ways, Rob. So for everybody that's listening, I want them to remember three things, right? Three things to do it. Engineered, data, and people. So engineered is the first. Innovation is native here, and you've integrated these three functions together. And what's so cool on top of that is the AI and automation connects people. So our clients are aspiring to eliminate silos as they operate.
Right.
And with these processes, they can start there, right at the beginning. So that's number one. Number two is data, and it's always all about the data. I think the aha comes when everyone understands that single source of truth can accelerate the path to value, should you choose to accept the challenge, right? So Fusion Marketing then allows us to work with our clients and their business users to get to market more quickly and effectively. So that's number two. Number three is people, human beings, right? The promise of cloud and innovation is that we can free humans from transactional work and allow them to work strategically, right? We want people focused on collaboration and applying that insight and ingenuity in their day. I want inventors, right? So we're excited. We want excited workforces. The bottom line is these are not simple problems, but there are simple answers. Our clients' enterprises are not just one thing, and we want to optimize their cloud journey. So Fusion Marketing and selling gets us 90% of the way there, and then we can tweak it together.
I agree completely. In fact, I think this opportunity is enormous for all our clients, and I want to thank you so much for spending time with us today and for working closely with us on this. We are very excited to have you as a launch partner, and we look forward to innovating with you on Fusion Marketing and look forward to having you back for our next chapter in December around engineered selling.
Thank you so much, Rob. I loved being a part of this launch. I can't wait to share client success stories together. And what I want is to power futures with you, right? And build long-lasting relationships while we do it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Today we talked about how Fusion Marketing is bringing together Unity, Fusion Advertising, and Fusion Products and References to help marketers and sellers do their job, which is to drive growth. It is the next generation of CRM. We've done the work for you and engineered marketing, advertising, sales, and content to work together to provide a solution that marketers and sellers can actually use. The results are happier, more productive sales and marketing teams, faster lead to close, and most importantly, a catalyst for business growth. Fusion Marketing is available today, and I encourage you to follow the link below for more in-depth content. We are thrilled about the future of CRM and the massive step forward Oracle Fusion Marketing represents. We can't wait for you to start experiencing it for yourself. Thanks for joining us today.
We compete in one of the biggest sports in the world. There's always adversity. You're going to lose more races than you're going to win. But it's those days that you learn the most. The fans are often overlooked, and we want to know who our fans are. We want to know what they're interested in. We want to be able to give them an insight that they can't get anywhere else. So understanding our fans, what they want, where they are, who they are, whatever it is that engages our fans, we want to know about them. And so therefore, a partnership like the one we have with Oracle, the technology that opens up to us is so exciting. AI and ML and all these new technologies that allow us to make more informed decisions. At the end of the day, it's about working with your team to try and take on some of the best teams, some of the biggest brands in the world. And when you achieve that, that's the biggest sense of satisfaction.